Chelsea Football Club and Enzo Maresca are hinting at the possibility of bringing in a new centre-back in January. However, we've got controversy on the other side. Wesley Fofana and the club have got different timelines for his return. The club wants surgery. Wesley Fofana is against it and is coming out on Instagram and basically reiterating he thinks he can be back quicker. And finally, Enzo Maresca, in the press conference after the draw with Crystal Palace, he decided it was the time to have a spat regarding Joao Felix and Christopher Nkunku. And for me, this is just silly because his substitutions were statement substitutions in my opinion. However, before we get started, I need a massive favor from every single one of you. If you hit that like button, YouTube hears that you lot enjoy it and spreads this content out to more people, and it helps the channel grow. Furthermore, we are 1,500 away from 40,000. Can we get there before the end of January? The best way you can support is by subscribing to the channel, and I promise I'll be delivering the best content I can to make sure you're informed about Chelsea and your nutrition is fully hydrated regarding your Chelsea content. Let's get started. This predicament with Wesley Fofana is the big news, right? Wesley Fofana has tore his hamstring. From what we know at this moment in time, after that Aston Villa game, Wesley Fofana was meant to be out for a few weeks and meant to return early January. However, Enzo Maresca reiterated that the initial progress of the injury was incorrect. They done more scans, dug into it a bit more and realized this is more serious than originally anticipated. What has happened since this interview? Number one, L'Equipe have come out with the fact that Chelsea and the medical staff believe Wesley Fofana needs surgery. The recovery will take 3 months or more. Basically, what's happened with Bukayo Saka. L'Equipe is also saying that at this moment in time, Wesley Fofana has no intention of getting any more surgery and does not want to hear about it. He is refusing to have the surgery. Later on that evening, what has happened? We have got more information from Team Fofana, an Instagram account, where they're saying he expects to be back in 4 to 6 weeks. And this is the key part. Source, Wesley Fofana. First of all, the account could be lying. However, we know that this account has ties to Wesley Fofana, and we also know Wesley Fofana is very active on social media. He consistently talks to other sources such as Alex Goldberg. We know that they have a relationship, and many other sources where he's often liking, retweeting, and also tweeting actively from his account. So the fact that he has an account called Team Fofana that is RANT and he's the source is very credible. What does this mean though? Look, Chelsea are paying his wages. Chelsea want this man to play football for Chelsea Football Club. Chelsea want to protect their asset. They have been through a whole basically soap opera with Reece James and these hamstring injuries. So I totally understand that they want him to go get another surgery to try to resolve the issue before it gets worse. Also, Chelsea have revamped the whole medical team. We've got a brand new medical team. These are experts regarding a hamstring. However, Wesley Fofana doesn't want to get surgery. You can't force him. It's his body. Wesley Fofana is sensitive about his body, and I'm going to explain to you why. In the last 3 years, he has had a tibia injury, a knee injury, a hyperextension, and now a hamstring injury. All of this plays on an individual psyche. I don't think he wants to miss 3 or 4 months. He was openly talking about how he was so happy to be back and playing. The problem is he doing more long-term damage to himself here? Sometimes you have to protect the individual from themselves. And in this situation, there is no right answer. Because if you say he has to go and get the surgery because his employers are paying for it, someone else is going to tell you that it's his body. But at the same time, sometimes you need someone to protect you from yourself. And in this scenario, this is so messy. I do not envy either party, but what this confirms to me, 4 to 6 weeks is a very optimistic, and if Chelsea believe it's 3 months or more, bro, I have no clue what is going on here. This is very, very controversial. After the draw with Crystal Palace, Enzo Maresca has decided now it is very important to talk about centre-back issues. He said, look, Fofana's out, Badiashile's out. Badiashile is expected to be out till February for your context. And he also said, he basically hinted, we're going to try to see what we can do. This is basically saying we're in the market for a centre-half. However, he also went on to say that Josh Achampong was one of the best players on the pitch. He was very impressed with him. And for those of you that haven't seen my match review, I'm going to put it in at the end of the video and in the comments below, the very first pinned one. You can go check it out. I broke down the game. I'm telling you now, it was not as bad as everybody thinks it was. Result, bad. Performance, 60 minutes of the game was very good. However, back to the stories. At this moment in time, we can't go the whole season with Disasi, Tosin, Josh Achampong. I don't believe in Disasi. I don't think Tosin is good enough. And Josh Achampong is an 18-year-old kid. We cannot throw him into the deep end next to Levi Colwell, and the expectation from there is, listen, broski, we got to get top 4. No negotiation. This is huge pressure. So if they go back in the market, I'll understand that. Ben Jacobs has come out and said Chelsea still really like the idea of Diamonde from Sporting. That is a deal for the summer. I don't see Chelsea going out there and spending 50, 60 million pounds for a 21-year-old, if I'm not mistaken, centre-half that has played 55 games at the top flight level in Portuguese league. Listen, Ruben Diaz came from that league and looked amazing. David Luiz came from that league and looked good, and maybe even great, some would say, and developed into a very good centre-half. We have seen players come from that league and flourish. However, I've also seen players like Otamendi come from that league and play for Manchester City and struggle massively. The transition from that league to the Premier League is not as swift as everyone thinks it is. Centre-halves have to do a lot more physical defending. And do I trust another 21-year-old coming in? I don't know. Diamonde is a good player, but whether I believe he is the solution to our problems, I can't be sitting here and saying. So we're going to wait for more credible news outlets to say stuff, and then we're going to jump on it. Furthermore, there have been some hints. Maybe we can do some recalling. Alfie Gilchrist. Apparently, according to the Daily Mail, as well as Fabrizio Romano, Chelsea do not have release clauses out of those loans. Meaning, Bashir Humphreys is on an obligation to buy at Burnley. He ain't coming back. Alfie Gilchrist is staying at Sheffield United. Chelsea are not even tempted to bring him back. They believe he's having a very good season and he's developing well. Let's be honest, Alfie Gilchrist is not the solution to our problems. And finally, Trevor Chalobah. Glasner has come out and basically said they already have 5 centre-halves. How many do they need? 8? The reality is, I don't think Glasner knows that there is no recall from Chelsea of the player. For me, this is a mess. I don't think any one of those 3 is the solution. If you're going to recall one, and we can, Trevor Chalobah might be the best option. Gives you experience, he gives you some ability on the ball. However, I don't think he's a long-term solution. I don't think he's of the level. I think you are literally playing with a Tosin. You're playing with a Disasi level player. He might be slightly better, but I think it's a huge reach. Furthermore, Fabrizio Romano has revealed that there's a lot of interest for Vega. Napoli are floating the idea of taking him on loan, and people will say, why doesn't he play left back? Left centre back. He plays there for Portugal. Trust me, he plays there against the weak nations. He does not play against the footballing top giants, the Frances, the Italys, the Hollands, the Englands. He plays there against Liechtensteins and Latvia level opposition. No disrespect to them. They're just not the superpowers in international football. In my opinion, I'm very, very hesitant on rating Viega. Everything I've seen of him, he just looks mid, genuinely. And if a bid of 25 million came with an obligation on a loan, I'm getting rid. I think he was a good signing for 12 million. We can flip him on and make a great profit. He does not get utilised by Enzo Maresca. When people get injured, when Cucurella is suspended, Gusto played left back. Coming into midfield, he's come in once against Bournemouth. We haven't seen him there. Centre back, he's not there. He's been a Conference League player. For me, this is very, very poor allocation of resources if we're going to think that he's the long-term solution, because we just haven't seen anything. For me, get rid of him if you can. The final story is regarding Enzo Maresca and his public spat with a journalist. So Enzo Maresca, after the Crystal Palace game, was asked about his substitutions. Can you make more substitutions? And he basically asked who? And then they said João and Nkunku were on the bench. Why have they not given opportunity? And he's like, take off who? For me, this is very funny, because I think outside of the goal, Jadon Sancho had a decent game, nothing special. Pedro Neto was not trigger happy. He was putting in crosses and Jackson was struggling to get on the end of it. So for me, it makes it really funny when he says, for who? You brought on Mark Gue. Okay, before the game, he made a statement. And this was very evident for me because he said Mark Gue will be getting more opportunities because he's done really well in the Conference League. That is very telling. Nkunku got an opportunity against Ipswich and he didn't do well. Joao Felix got an opportunity against Ipswich. He got hooked, meaning Maresca feels he didn't do well. Disasi and Toussaint got an opportunity against Ipswich. They got taken off. Since that moment, we've seen an opportunity for Josh Achampong, an 18-year-old, and another 18-year-old in Mark Gue. Both players have got their opportunities. Both players have actively kind of took their opportunities. I don't think Gue was bad when he came on. Nothing special. However, I thought it was okay. Alternatively, Josh Achampong had a great half. I don't think Disasi or Toussaint can be making any claims about not playing or not starting. They've not been up to par. Either one of them. And Josh will get his opportunity and now it's about him now making that spot his own. I am very intrigued to see what happens against Morecambe purely based on the fact that at this moment in time, Joao Felix and Nkunku have a future, they start that game. If they don't, the one that misses out will be leaving the club because at Morecambe, Chelsea are expected to play these players. Gue cannot start in front of either one of them unless you want one of them to basically put in a transfer request and leave. It's going to be interesting. He evidently does not trust them, but this is what we're here for. Guys, before you end this video, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel because I think if you made it this far, you clearly enjoyed the content. So like I said, 1,500 away from 40k. It would mean the world to me if we can hit it before January. And more importantly, here's another video for you guys to break down the Crystal Palace game. I was very calm. I was very collected, detail orientated as I always am. Let's get started. See you soon.